Just look into the lens while you talk and do your thing.
Oh.
Sorry. All right. Doesn't matter. See you. Anything you want to say, anything you do, I'm out of here. See you.
Bye-bye.
Wait.
Bye.
Can you make training sound so intense and so intimate?
And you know what? I'm here for it.
I really understand what you're saying when you speak about teaching students, flaws and all.
My question for you is this.
How do you balance out the intensity it takes to impose your teachings and the knowledge upon a group of students in a class setting, while also remaining open-minded and receptive to each of the students' individual needs?
How do we say, do this, and maybe in the same sentence and still manage to be taken seriously by our students?
Wouldn't say training is intense. Intimate is really the word for it.
It's very personal. It's a very personal training.
Training with him it is a very intimate process. He takes time out of each class period to check up on every student.
He does actually a really great job of making sure that he takes time to get to know his students.
We move differently. Our bodies are different. We don't all learn the same way.
Ken creates a very kind, open, and welcome dojo, and it's reflected in his teaching.
As far as a teacher, Ken is very receptive to individual needs.
But everybody gets something different based on who they're working with, who they are, how they're doing, how skilled they are.
As I'm coming up training kind of as a teacher, I am understanding how difficult that is.
One of my favorite sayings is, if people can't learn the way that we teach, we must teach the way that they learn. Ken, while he might not have heard the same thing, definitely follows that same philosophy when he teaches.
He tries to focus on what each student needs. Just floating around and being available to everybody is something that Sensei Ken is actually incredibly good at, and taking just an assessment of the class as a whole and then each of its individual parts.
First off, classes are very open and welcoming to any and all students. It doesn't matter age, gender, size, personality differences.
And I think students who come to the dojo realize that very fast, that they come into this dojo and they feel like family and friends, but they also feel that they are heard and that their needs are met.
There's a lot of room for being able to do things your own way.
But the biggest part of this is him allowing us time to figure it out ourselves, figure out what works for us, and to fail and then figure out why we fail.
It's not just the sensei building people up. It's everyone building each other up through training.
Everyone is usually welcoming and willing to help in any way possible. I mean, there are students here who have been only attending for about 6 months, and instantly they are respectful and willing to laugh both at themselves and create an open environment where it's okay to fail.
Everybody is feeling welcome. Everybody can be there for each other, and everybody is there for each other. No matter what it is, we'll make it work.
It's everyone's job to make sure that everybody in the room is the best person they can be. Not just a school, it makes a community, right? It's kind of just a living, breathing organism, the entire thing, because everybody's helping build each other up and become better.
And I think that's a system that really makes people want to come here and want to go through that intense training.
Because it's you and somebody that helps better you.
Ken also has a really great ability to be there for the students and to know exactly what's happening, what strengths they have, and what they need to work on.
You know, it's very gentle. There's not very much pressure whatsoever to do things perfectly the first time. You can fail a number of times and be able to gain more confidence with each and every time you practice.
Who pairs with who? That's how you to meet individual needs. People need to work with other people that will bring out in them what they need in this journey, whatever it is, whether it's because one person might need to work patience, one person might need to work their technique.
Including maybe and do this in a lesson, I think is very essential. And I think Ken does a very, very good job of doing that.
Maybe is our cue to just give it a whirl. If we still have questions, we know that he'll come back and he'll explain it to us even further if he needs to. Most of the time, we don't need to.
So the maybe comment came from one of my teachers as well, a gentleman that Ken and I both trained with. And the maybe kind of aspect of it was, in my opinion, do this. Maybe, then we'll change it. And you'll see other things later on in your training.
Ken has that ability to show students what he has to offer, and that whatever he offers is valuable to them.
There isn't a balance on it. This is what I say, and I say maybe, because maybe it's gonna change. It's probably gonna change.
Everybody can do the same drill and get different lessons out of it purely because the way people think, right? No one man crosses the same river twice. It's because he's not the same man and it's not the same river.
Ken is really focused on the student and building a relationship with every single student.
He'll try to explain the thing in a way that he figures out that we understand better, which he comes to know over time with each student how they learn best.
It is really something that I admire. Ken does a really good job of building that relationship. Differentiation between the students and the student skill is amazing because Ken really has this setting where everybody is watching, everybody gets the same instruction, but everybody works on the things that they need to work on.
Yeah, and there's always people that see closer to what you see, and sometimes that's not always sensei. Sometimes one of the higher belts, sometimes one of the lower belts. Sometimes they help you out.
Ken does a really great job of encouraging that, to be there for each other, to work with each other, even though the personalities couldn't be any different than they are in the dojo here.
They're being taught by this entire school, not just one guy. That really helps is having other students and other perspectives help teach the same thing, because then different details get covered, different perspectives get seen. And of course, they'll probably be similar, but that's because we all learned it from the same guy, but every time we learned it, we got something different from it than someone else.
Now everybody has a different personality, but we all eventually look just like Ken and teach just like Ken. And that's pretty amazing. Some people come here that have a trauma, and some people might not have an easy time in the dojo all the time.
Last year in training with Ken, we were doing a lot of sparring, and we were getting into it, and it gets hard. I would end up crying, but I just knew, you just kept going. You didn't stop no matter what, because even though it gets difficult, you keep going. But that's something too, that even after those classes, Ken will come over to you and he'll express that he's proud of you because you keep going even though it's getting difficult. And I think those are the moments that help keep me training, because it's difficult, but he's also teaching me that I can get past that and I can push myself and I'm still okay. I can still keep training. There's still more that I can do.
I came to class mostly to help with my self-confidence and be able to move about in the world.
Ken does a really good job of nurturing that relationship, not just in the dojo, but also outside the dojo.
I do admit that there are times that the training is hard. The training can be incredibly difficult and it pulls you out of your comfort zone. And I admit fully, there's been times where I'm going, this is so hard. And in the back of my mind, I'm also, I'm like, I'm going to stay. And I remember one time in particular, we were working stances and Ken was coming around with a stick and he was holding it up to our obi and he would say, your obi needs to be the same height as the stick. So you're like, it's such a deep stance and it's so hard. And we did this for an hour and a half. And when we got done, he sat everyone down in Seiza and just said to us, you all did incredible. And he said, the door is right there. And not a single one of you left, no matter how hard that got. And you all tried and did your best.
Do this or else is something that we never hear in the dojo. It's always about trying and try your hardest. And sometimes you're gonna succeed and sometimes you don't succeed, but that's part of the mental growth.
I'm also incredibly appreciative because Sensei Ken is willing to take one-on-one time with me. And he's helping me grow as an individual while also building a bigger connection with me because we have those one-on-one sessions. And I think that makes wanting to train and staying around for training so much easier because I feel valued as an individual.
Ken does this very well to build up that relationship with others and to sit there and listen to every single one's needs and to make those needs met.
And I never ever feel like he's out just because I'm paying him. He's training me because he wants to see me become better and do better.
Coming into a dojo is not just a training, it is personal growth. And mostly it is mental growth. And I think Ken does a really good job of nurturing that.
You're always learning yourself. Don't ever think that you stop learning. And I think that is another thing that Sensei Ken does so well at, is he's continuing to learn on his own so that he can keep helping all of his students grow and while maintaining that he's growing as well. And there are times that there's a technique or a principle that he's taught and he's taught it over and over and over again, and he finds new research or he finds a new point of view and he can admit and say, like, this is a technique that we've been doing, but this one is better. This one has different values and different principles that make it better and make it something that now we're going to work on rather than the other one.
Ken himself goes, absolutely. Everything changes all the time. And I've changed even since training with him. I've changed constantly, but that's the martial arts, right?
It's actually been an incredibly interesting time for me to train because the way that the training and the teaching, there's been a lot of changes, and I've pretty well gotten to be a part of all of that. I came in kind of under a different instructor who is Sensei Ken's instructor, and he was teaching things in a different manner. And Ken has been doing a lot of research and training on his own. And even as a student, I have gotten to see Sensei Ken's growth. And that is something that in and of itself is inspiring too, because he's still willing to grow, and he knows that he has places to go, and he still has so much to learn that then he can pass on to us. And I think that in and of itself is an inspiration to anyone. You continue to grow and you continue to change, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. And embrace it. Embrace the change. Embrace the growth. And I hope anyone as a teacher is willing to do that for their students.
I definitely appreciate having teachers like him. I think that's an attribute that all good teachers need to have, is this, but it may change depending on the student, depending on the situation, depending on all kinds of things.
Again, it's all about the relationship.
I hope you enjoyed hearing their perspectives as much as I enjoyed hearing their perspectives. I'll go ahead and give my perspective too. There's some things that I want to touch on, some things that I think that maybe I'll share. The question that stood out to me, there were two. The first, how do you balance out the intensity it takes to impose? I thought that word choice was interesting. To impose your teachings and knowledge upon a group of students in a class setting while also remaining open-minded and receptive of each student's individual needs. The next question was the one that stood out to me the most. How do we say do this and maybe in the same sentence and expect to be taken seriously? To me, I feel that it's important. It's so important that this be unique and individual for each person and that they get what they need to get out of it, then I'm just okay not being taken seriously. If you don't believe in me, if you don't believe that you're getting something that's valuable to you, I don't think you're going to stick around. And I don't want you to. If I'm not able to pass something to you that you can take and make yours that's interesting and valuable to you, then what good is it for me to keep you and force you to stay when you might be able to go find somebody who can do that for you? So if you can't take me seriously, if you don't think that what I know has value for you, then maybe it doesn't. And maybe that's what's important. But I also think that I do know a few things. I do have things to share. I do at least know the things that work really well for me, and I can back them up. Because of that, I believe that you will take it seriously. You'll at least take it seriously that it exists, even if it doesn't work for you. And when I say maybe, I believe that gives you the freedom to decide if the way I do it is for you. And I don't worry about whether or not they trust me, because I spend every day trying to earn their trust. And I spend every day trying to be worthy of their trust. I research and study and practice and train so that I never stop being valuable, so that I never stop having something to offer, something to take someone further. When I'm working with someone and there's something I just can't get through with them because it doesn't match me, then I take the time to go find out what it is that we can do to make it better. And I think students pick up on that. I think they realize it. And if they do, then they will take you seriously. That when you don't know the answer for them, honestly, I think people trust people more who don't know the answer but are willing to look into it and willing to try to understand than the people who just tell you, well, that's the way it is, and move on. I think people trust that less because there's no validity to it. There's no verification to it. And at the end of the day, I just try really hard to express how much each person means to me. And that to me is worth more. If we care about each other and we care about growing, then all that's left is time, spending the time to do it. And when it comes to how do you impose your teachings and knowledge on a group of students while remaining open-minded and receptive to each student's individual need, to me, that's easy. I share what I know, and that's the part that's imposing my knowledge. Being receptive to their individual needs is the fact that what I know doesn't apply to everybody all the time. So they go together. And I think that breeds an environment of trust. I think that breeds a connection that goes deeper than just possessing a book of knowledge, a book of static, dead knowledge. Instead, let's make it alive. And I find certain things important to me. One of the things that's important to me is that it is more important that I be able to share to you when I'm wrong, when I feel like I have failed, when I feel like there is something that needs corrected. I think when you do those things, you earn trust. And so I can think of a couple different times that I have taught things for years a certain way, and then I determined that I was wrong. And so I can hide behind that insecurity of being seen as wrong and continue to teach the thing I don't believe in. Or I can just tell people that I was wrong and that I've learned that at one point I was right. I believed I was right. And now that I know more, I'm going to share this with you instead. This is what I believe in now. And then I can just hope that they are committed to that is important to them, that earns the trust that they are never going to be fed things that I don't believe in just so they stick around and just so that I continue to be the guy at the top. You probably figured out listening to all these people talk that I spend a lot of time letting other people teach instead. I don't want to be the only one. Does it feel good being somebody that people look up to? Yeah. Does it feel good having people trust and value your knowledge or your skill at a high level? Yeah. Is it appropriate to make that the center point of the training and what we're doing? No. Not even a little bit. If somebody knows better than me, then we should work on that. We should come together. I only know as much as I have had contact with. And everybody has a different story. So incorporate the stories and let people trust you, not because you know everything, but because you're willing to help them know what they need to know, regardless of what that looks like. don't know. That's my thoughts. I thought that was probably one of the best questions that I've gotten in a really long time. And I hope that this was valuable. In the meantime, I look forward to the next question. I look forward to the next time that we talk. And I hope it was fun that we got other people involved and you got to hear a perspective besides mine. So I look forward to the next one. Catch you later.